July vlog day 2. Yes, I'm 2 days in, I'm doing well. Today I want to kind of just talk about something that has been bugging me for a while. And I've spoken to a few other people recently who have been coming to the same conclusion. It seems to be, I don't know, it's almost like a phenomenon that's happened over time, and then all of a sudden a whole group of people have suddenly gone, hang on a minute. What I want to discuss today is what I call the art journaling cash cow. It happens with all crafts eventually. Okay, so, you know, companies have got to make money, you know, professional artists get a lot of money from demonstrating and doing endorsements and all that. I've got no truck with that, you know, that's people doing their jobs, okay? I've got no problem with that. What I have a bit of an issue with is so many people assuming that that's all it's about, or that that is the only way to do things. Or worse, people who just do art journaling videos like myself and many others, and they will in one sentence say, well, the first thing you need to know about journaling is there are no rules. And then they will proceed to tell you what you should or shouldn't do and how you should or shouldn't do things. And not even in a way, you know, just here's lots of options and things. You know, everybody does technique videos because sooner or later everybody gets to a point where they're like, well, I don't know what to do now. Particularly beginners, you know, you get to that that kind of hump in the road where you've gone as far as you can take yourself. You've done your journaling, you've done as much art as you can. You've done the bits and pieces that you feel comfortable with, and then somehow you've got to get over that bit of hill from your comfort zone into the great wide world beyond of art. And you know, that can be daunting, and sometimes going out and buying a new product or something will help you get over that, you know, expand a bit, learn a new thing, do a class, whatever. And I have no problem with that. That's not what I'm having an issue with. What I'm having an issue with is this idea that art journaling, and I'm using quotes in the sense of whenever I'm doing this, it's like, you know, that's the coined phrase for it, the trendy thing to call it. Art journaling has become all about mixed media. But not mixed media as in, you know, just using whatever in whatever way on whatever in whatever theme you want and do whatever you want with it. It's mixed media, you know, where there's almost become a prescribed way of doing things. You start with a blank page. You ignore gesso because we don't gesso. Mixed media artists don't use gesso as a base. You don't need to use gesso. So they skip the gesso and then they start with background. Or the first layer, as I love to call it. I've seen, I can't even remember where I saw it, but I think it might have been Sammy Keir actually, because she's a big layers person and she's all about getting over the layers. And you know, nothing against Sam, I get on with Sam, you know, don't read anything into that. It's just our approaches to journaling differs, okay? She's that side and I'm this side. She's very much about layers and pushing through, and you know, and she did this big thing about how to cover up a layer that you love. And she got a good response from it. It was obviously something that people wanted to know about. You know, if I've done this layer, I really like it. How do I now go on and do another layer when I really like what's underneath? Yeah? So obviously there was a need for that in the perception of people that were doing layers and saying, well, you know, I want to do another layer, but I like that one. So in that sense it was needed. But on the other side was me sitting there going, but if you love it, why cover it up? Why do you feel obligated to do layers. It's all about layers. The amount of times I hear mixed media people saying it's all about layers. It doesn't have to be about layers. I'm sorry, but it doesn't. Mixed media, in the way it's presented in certain arts and crafts magazines, might be all about layers. But there is plenty you can do that is mixed media. Okay? Mixed media does not mean we do, we have to put X many layers of acrylic paint over, and then we have to add texture, and then we have to add collage, and then we have to add this, and then we have to add that. There is no prescription for mixed media, okay? Mixed media simply means mixing media on a page in a non-traditional way. Non-traditional, okay? Pencil and watercolour, that's a fairly traditional way of doing mixed media, of using traditional media. So that's not mixed media. Pencil and watercolour is not mixed media, unless you're doing pencil and watercolour and coloured pencil. Coloured pencil and watercolour is mixed media, because that's not a traditional way of doing art, that's illustration, okay? Using acrylic on a canvas and then putting oil paint over the top is a traditional way of using those mediums. In order to conserve oil paint, when acrylic paint became available, because you can put acrylic paint underneath oil paint but not vice versa, the underpainting would traditionally be done with acrylic and then painted over with oil paint. That is not mixed media, okay? That is a traditional way of using one or more medias together. But if you're doing a journal page where you've got watercolour and then you add some ink and then you use your gel pen and then you use a bit of tissue paper for some texture and then you colour in something with a bit of coloured pencil, that is mixed media. It is mixing media on a page. You do not have to be using acrylic paints or a jelly plate or stencils or whatever to be doing mixed media. Okay, you don't. Traditionally, you don't mix, for instance, watercolour and acrylic. Traditionally, in fine art, you don't mix watercolour and acrylic. So if you're mixing watercolour and acrylic in your paintings in a similar way to, who does it? Tam does it, Tam, Willowing. If you're doing that kind of mixed media, that is mixed media, okay? If you're just doing watercolour sketches in your notebook and you're drawing with graphite and then watercolouring them, or you're doing ink sketches and using watercolour over the top, that's pen and wash technique or graphite and wash technique. That is a fine art technique. It's not mixed media. But if you're doing all three and adding a colour pencil, get my words out, if you're doing all three and then add a colour pencil, that's mixed media, okay? I was really saddened, actually, to have somebody that I know very well, that I thought was a journal artist and have considered, to be fairly arty, actually say to me in a conversation, I've given up with art journaling, I can't get into it, I don't like mixed media. And I was like, whoa, hang on a minute, what? You don't art journal because you don't like mixed media. That means you think that art journaling is mixed media. And it has to be about mixed media as it's presented in arts and crafts books. And she went on to say that I'm much happier just doing some writing and sketching and, what did she say? Doing writing and sketching and Zentangles. That's more my kind of thing. What? Since when is doing writing and sketching and Zentangles in a book that you call an art journal not art journaling? Since the cash cow has become mixed media, you've got to have all the expensive paints, the golden fluids crowd. Nothing against golden fluid acrylic, okay? Or artists who use golden fluid acrylic for art. Julie Pritchard does art journaling and she does art and she does mixed media. And she specifically uses golden paints. But she doesn't give the impression that art journaling is all about having these particular acrylic paints and using them in this particular way. She's more art-based. And it worries me that there are people coming into art journaling now who think that mixed media has to be part of the bundle in the way that it is presented to them online. Okay? One of the most well-known art journalers around is Susie Blue. Susie Blue does mixed media, okay? That is mixed media. She does a bit of everything. Her journals are... I don't think there's anything she doesn't use in her journals. She's, you know, she doodles, she writes, she paints, she draws, she sketches, she collages, she puts in magazines, she puts in photos. That's mixed media as it is in art journaling. Now, if you are one of those people who doesn't like a specific type of media, you know, I don't like mucky stuff. I've tried to do mucky stuff. Even my mucky stuff comes out quite clean and nice. I hate layers. Okay, Susie's all about the layers. That's just how she uses her media to, you know, she won't, if she does a layer and she likes it, she'll keep it. But if she's building a page, she will build it using layers. That's a very distinct difference than covering up something that you love just for the sake of making something else. That doesn't make any sense to me, but I've covered that anyway. But, you know, like this, I consider this mixed media. And no, I'm not the authority on what is or isn't art journaling or anything else. I'm simply stating my view, and my view is that this, which includes collage elements and watercolour and tissue paper and some stamping and some doodling and some ink work and some silver paint, and it will have lots more other bits added onto it by the time I'm finished, is still mixed media. Okay, I've Zentangled her hair. I've sketched and I've Zentangled her hair. That's mixed media because of the materials I've used. But there's no acrylic paint on here. There's no layering. I don't own a jelly plate. I haven't stenciled or whatever. It's not messy. It's not got thousands of layers. It's just mixing media on a page. Okay? And that I for one want to get back to more of that. And I know a lot of other people have said that actually, Courtney put it very well last night. Courtney Brooke, if you haven't seen her videos, what's her... she's done a series called The Journal Keeper on YouTube. I will put a link below, actually, because it's a really good series. It's going through all her journals from when she started just doing a bit of writing and some collage, right the way through to, you know, colourful painting type stuff. And her journals are mixed media, but it's not thousands and thousands of layers just for the sake of covering something up. It's not doing a background for the sake of doing a background. It's not, right, I'm going to art journal, therefore I must do a background first. You know, if she wants to tape in a photo and add some pretty colour next to it and then write, she considers that art journaling because it's art and it's journaling. Okay, that's what I'm getting at. But she put it very well. I'm actually going to quote her. 1 second while I find it. Because she said exactly what I was thinking. La la, online is very slow today. Where is my chat thread? Bear with me a second. Okay, I'm going to read you some excerpts from this this discussion that we had. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it was a private discussion, but some of the things that she said really hit home to me, and it was exactly what I was thinking. I'm not a big fan of just bright layered backgrounds. They're beautiful, but what's the meaning behind it all? You miss too much life just doing backgrounds. With a billion things going on, it just doesn't woo me. But seeing someone's life on the page with words, photos and doodling, I will always like and repin that. I'm going to read that again because that's just a brilliant quote. That you miss too much life just doing backgrounds with a million billion things going on. It doesn't woo me, but seeing someone's life on a page with words, photos and doodling, I will always like it and repin it. That's how I feel. And I'm actually going to do a book review because I got a book recently, this one by Kathy Johnson. It's called The Artist's Journal Workshop. I'm going to do a full review of this book. But this book had me at basically sentence 1, because everything she said is exactly how I'm feeling. There's too much art journaling for the sake of art journaling, and calling it art journaling, and because it's mixed media therefore it must be art journaling, with no real passion or meaning behind it, no capturing of life. Basically art without the journaling. And when I first started teaching classes, one of the things I really wanted to get back to was putting the journaling back into art journaling. That was actually one of the tags of one of my classes, actually. I'll come back to that in a second. I'm going to read you this little bit from this introduction. I'll admit I prefer the term artist's journal rather than art journal to describe what we're about here. There's a reason for that. There are many books on classes on making an art journal. For instance, an altered book in which pages are small works of art in themselves, full of collage, calligraphy, stamps, scraps of this and that, is an art journal. So is a book with a configuration that's almost like origami, or a journal with a cover or other details that makes the book itself art. Some books are decorated with tassels and beads, some have steampunk look with gears and bits of metal. They are often meant to be displayed in a gallery or museum or on a shelf, and may even be sold to a collector. Instead, we're going to explore what it means to keep an artist's journal, a personal journal kept by the creative person that is you. You are an artist and a fully rounded creative human being with plans, questions, answers, needs and goals, ordinary and sublime. You explore, you respond, you worry, you delight in the moment, and your fingers itch to capture that moment. Your curiosity is piqued and you search for your own answers, making notes and sketches as you go. You celebrate a milestone or an everyday occurrence. You run out of tea or eggs, you need to remember a phone number or what happened at the meeting you attended. Into your journal it goes. Your journal can be a place to express all of that, to capture every moment of your life. And it can also be an art journal if that's what you want, because it's your decision. I love that. I think that is one of the best paragraphs I've ever read out of a creative book on art journaling, or artists' journals as this is called. And this is, like I said, I'm going to do a full review on this, but you can see it's very much getting back to the idea of notes and collage and paintings and, you know, capturing everyday life. And whilst there are people who art journal for the sake of doing art in a book, and who use mixed media in that kind of prescribed way, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. What I'm saying is that people shouldn't think that that's all there is to art journaling. The crux of art journaling is journaling, and journaling is capturing moments in life. If you do that in such a way that you're just using acrylic paints and sticking photos onto the page and making it pretty and making it a little work of art, then that's up to you. But for me, and for an awful lot of other artists out there, there is no point to just making art for art's sake in specifically a journal where, to a lot of people, the journal is a personal spilling forth and capturing of life. So yeah, discuss. I'm sure there'll be people who agree with me and people who don't agree with me, and I would love to hear all sorts of views on this, because I have to admit I've delved into that whole, oh yes, we must make a background thing, And that's how I discovered I didn't like mucky painting. It's just not my sort of thing. But at the same time, what I consider art journaling, a lot of people consider, you know, oh, what, this is just sketching. This is before I used to do art journaling kind of thing. And I've always considered myself an art journaler. Always. I didn't always call it art journaling. I didn't call it art journaling till about sort of the late 90s when I discovered Tisha Moore and Therese Lee. But, you know, this is still art journaling. And if this is what you like, then this is what your art journal should look like. And if what you like is layers and layers and layers of all sorts of stuff that you put on a page, a la Susie Blue, then that's art journaling as well. And if you like doing crazy background abstract stuff like Julie Pritchard, then that's art journaling too. And if you like doing Zentangles and writing and sketching with just a simple pen and wash like Milliander does, that's art journaling too. And any kind of mixing of media in a non-traditional way in book form is art journaling, no matter what the corporate cash cows of America tell you is mixed media or art journaling. Do your own thing, whether that is doing what we do with a pen and writing and journaling, or whether it is buying into that whole art journaling mixed media thing that, you know, that maybe that's your comfort zone. Maybe that's the impersonal art journal is your comfort zone and you like that. Or, you know, maybe you need to turn your back on that and say, no, I want my journals to be more about me and my life. I want the journal back. Discuss. I'd love to hear your views, I really would. And no, I don't mind if you want to disagree with me, it's absolutely fine. I think it's a really good topic for discussion. So I'll leave it there for today, and I will be back again tomorrow. Before I go, I was saying about the tagline of one of my classes being putting the journaling back into art journaling. That was actually Use Your Words, which was my very, very first class, way back in 2008. And I'm actually retiring that class fairly soon. It's on offer at the moment during July, along with Eve to Eve. They're on a buy one get one free offer. So you can actually buy both together for the original price of just one. And I thought, hey, you know what? There's lots of new students haven't seen those classes because they didn't know about me 5 years ago or 7 years ago or whatever it was. How about I do a little giveaway? So I'm going to do a giveaway of one place on that class to do Eve to Eve and Use Your Words together. Now, obviously, if you've done one but not the other, that kind of disqualifies you from the giveaway, although you're welcome to enter if you just want to win the other one, that's fine. But if you don't want to enter because you've already done one, then there is another offer that you can do. I can't remember exactly how much it is, but for a small donation, you can purchase the other class and have access to the two classes again on my site. And part of that donation will go to your UKGSR as well, to help homeless doggies, because that's what I do. So yeah, there's a giveaway. I will I'm going to try out Rafflecopter for this one. I've seen a few of the beauty gurus use Rafflecopter and it seems to work very well. So I'm going to do a post on my Tumblr, romanesrealm.org.uk, and obviously that will go to my website and my Twitter and everywhere else as well, with the giveaway details that will go alongside this video. And I will put links down below for all the information. Okay? Have fun, good luck, happy art journaling.